You're watching One on One. We're talking with paranormalist Uri Geller. Uri, more about your life, the defining moments. I'm curious about what you consider to be those most important moments in your life, apart from the family stuff we've discussed. And
well, apart from my family and the very powerful, life-changing events in the war, I think that it must be, well, there are a few,
of course,
and it must be a bit political, because I was actually asked by Vice President Al Gore and the head of the American Foreign Relations Committee, Senator Claiborne Pell, through Ambassador Max Kempelman, to travel with them to Geneva, to the US mission, and convince mentally with extrasensory perception the Russians, Yuli Vorontsov, who was the head of the nuclear negotiator, to sign the nuclear treaty. And first of all, I was amazed that I was asked to do that. But, you know, they know so much about me and the stuff that I've done in laboratories. So I stood next to Yuli Vorontsov, and I actually sent him messages mentally, telepathically, sign, sign, sign. And they did sign the nuclear treaty. Now, obviously, I can't fully claim that it was totally because of me. But there's no doubt in my mind that I influenced this man.
now, obviously, you've met a lot of famous people. You're friends with a lot of interesting people. How did you find Michael Jackson as a character in your friendship?
Michael Jackson is, he's, first of all, let's face it, he's a musical genius. That's it. You know, no matter what you think about him. I believe that Michael Jackson is a terribly naive individual, unbelievably gullible. Some of the people who worked around him were very kind of yes people, yes men, yes, yes. Whenever he asked for something, they said yes, even if he shouldn't have done it and it was wrong. I screamed at Michael on a couple of occasions, and I actually raised my voice. I had that Israeli chutzpah, and I told him, Michael, you can't do this with the kids, inviting them into your bedroom. Although I always believed that he was innocent. It was always inconceivable for me to believe that he molested a child. And I actually did something with Michael that to me was a very personal validation, and I'll tell you what it was, that he's innocent. We were at the Hit Factory in New York. Michael was putting the last touches on Invincible on his latest CD, which I actually designed, a part of the booklet. And we were talking about hypnotism and something that he was craving for, totally unrelated. And then I said to him, well, I'm a hypnotist. Will you allow me to hypnotize you? He said, oh, yeah, please. And I hypnotized him, and I took him into a deep trance. And then I did something highly unethical, at least from my side. I asked him, Michael, did you ever touch a child in an inappropriate manner? And under deep hypnosis, Michael immediately said, no, I would never do that. And then I asked him further, well, why did you pay Jody Chandler millions? And he said, I couldn't take it anymore. I had enough. And then I woke him up. And to me, that was a personal validation that this man is totally innocent.
What about other friends you have in the entertainment world? Who are the ones that you find yourself closest to?
You know, throughout my life, Riz, I met amazing people, from Elvis Presley to Elton John, John Lennon. John Lennon was the person that said to me when I was, you know, in my biggest bulimia problem and panic attacks, he said to me, Uri, you must find yourself. Go and find spirituality. And I said to John, what do you mean by spirituality? What is that? And Yoko told me, go to Japan. And I did that. I gave away all my belongings. I lived in Manhattan there. I had houses, apartments everywhere. I was earning huge amounts of money from finding oil and gold. And I landed in Narita airport with my two kids. They were toddlers, my wife, my mother, my brother-in-law. Hired a van, drove to Mount Fuji. And I lived in a forest under Mount Fuji for an entire year. And that changed my life. So people like John Lennon were immensely influential, to me at least, to find the path, the right path, to, to bring myself down to earth.
Do you find yourself getting close to politicians and sort of the world leader types, or do they, as characters, do they not suit your personality?
Whenever there is some type of a deadlock, negotiations are not working well, I'm being asked by politicians to help out. I'm concerned in dropping names here.
Why do they turn to you, do you think?
Because when they run out of ideas and things are not moving, and when there are deadlines to achieve, they say, well, who is the master of the mind? Who is that person who can actually, with his stare, penetrate into the minds of the people we are trying to negotiate with?
The last big thing that there was a search for, of course, was in Iraq, the weapons of mass destruction. Did they call you at all for that?
All I can tell you about Iraq is the following. That in 1972, in an indirect way, I set up for the American government, especially for the CIA, an arm, call it an agency, called remote viewing. After the 11th of September, many remote viewers were recruited back. Now, if you just remember how Saddam Hussein was found, just reflect back at that dirty rug on the ground, which was moved away. I mean, come on. Who led the Americans to that hiding place? I'm not saying it was me, but I'm telling you that I know, call it inside information, rumors, that remote viewers were involved.
How do those work?
Remote viewers are people who are highly intuitive. They're trained. You don't have to be born with the ability of being able to remote view. They train you. So there are remote viewers sitting, say, in the Pentagon with computers. And they actually send their mind into space and time. And they bring back information of troop movements, submarines that are relocated in certain seas. They can monitor those with their mind. They can find objects. They can find people.
So it's a form of astral projection.
It is a form of astral projection, except you bring very, very correct information back. And then you analyze it with computers. So it does really work. And I'll tell you this, a lot of intelligence services around the world use paranormalists and psychics and remote viewers.
You also do a lot of motivational speeches, lectures, and things like that. How a bigger part of your life is that?
I'm being asked many times by very large corporations to motivate either their directors, the chairman of the boards, and just an ordinary, person who works in a huge corporation, to gel them together. And I think I'm a good motivator because, unlike other motivators, I can demonstrate things. Now, when they see a spoon bending, it amazes them. It acts as if the placebo effect to me. Because I say to them, now forget the spoon bending. It's not important whether it's real or not. It's very trivial. But the power of the mind is immense, and you have it. Use it. And I actually teach them how to activate that energy and how to use it at work, how to make the company more effective, how to influence clients to buy their products, for instance. It's on a massive scale, and it really does work, because as individuals, we all have consciousness, but most of us don't know how to use it. And I ignite that energy and teach them how to actually apply it into their everyday life. I get football players here. Sit down on the chair, and I'll show you what I do. Let's say you're David Beckham. I'm not. I look at them and I say, okay, now David, you are going to be positive. You're going to go out there and you're going to score goals. You are going to score goals. Close your eyes now. Close your eyes. Visualize. Now visualize yourself scoring a goal. Go for it. Etch that onto your memory. And now say, I am going to score a goal. Say it out loud.
I'm going to score a goal.
Open your eyes. You're going to do it, David. Go for it.
And how do you think you'll be remembered? What will be your legacy?
Riz, I'm such a huge believer in life after death. You know, decades ago, Einstein proved that energy cannot be destroyed. Therefore, and I think you'll agree with me, you have a soul, you have a spirit. That spirit survives and goes to the afterlife, to the next world. I think there is no end. It's infinity out there. There is no end to outer space and there is no end to inner space. Life goes on forever. So in each lifetime you have a different task. I don't really care what I will be remembered for. Unfortunately, probably on my tombstone will say, here lies the spoonbender, Uri Geller. It's not something that I really care about.
Uri, wish you a long life. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Riz, thank you so much.